What would you do if a simple airport trip with your child turned into a public embarrassment? In today's emotional story, a single dad and his young son are stopped at the boarding gate and denied entry to their flight. The staff believe they're dealing with an ordinary passenger, but they have no idea who this man really is. What happens next shocks everyone in the terminal and teaches a powerful lesson about respect, kindness, and never judging people by their appearance. Stay with us until the end to see how one unexpected moment changes everything. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more inspiring stories. And let's get started. Ethan Parker adjusted the strap of his backpack as he walked through the crowded terminal of Dallas Fort Worth International Airport. Beside him, his 8-year-old son, Noah, carried a small toy airplane and excitedly talked about the trip they were about to take. To everyone around them, Ethan looked like an average single father. He wore a simple gray hoodie, faded jeans, and comfortable sneakers. No one could have guessed that he owned one of the largest airlines in the United States and had a fortune worth billions of dollars. Ethan preferred traveling without assistance, security guards, or luxury treatment. He believed that the best way to understand his company was to experience it exactly as ordinary passengers did. That morning, he and Noah had checked in without any problems and headed toward their gate with plenty of time before boarding as boarding began. Ethan smiled and handed their boarding passes to the gate agent. The woman scanned the first ticket, frowned, and scanned it again. Her expression immediately changed. "I'm sorry, sir, but there's an issue with these tickets," she said. Ethan remained calm. "What kind of issue? The system isn't accepting them." "You'll need to step aside." Noah looked up at his father with confusion. Ethan politely showed the confirmation email on his phone and explained that the tickets had been purchased weeks earlier. The agent barely looked at the screen before shaking her head. "I can't let you board," she said firmly. Several passengers waiting nearby began watching the conversation. Some whispered among themselves. Ethan could feel the judgment in their eyes, as if they assumed he was trying to travel with invalid tickets. "But our flight leaves in 20 minutes. Ethan said, "There's nothing I can do." The agent replied. Noah's excitement quickly faded. Holding his toy airplane tightly, he asked Dad, "Are we not going?" Ethan placed a reassuring hand on his son's shoulder and forced a smile. "We'll figure it out, buddy." Neither the gate agent nor the curious passengers had any idea that the man they were refusing to board was actually the owner of the entire airline. As Ethan stood quietly with no one near the gate, a sudden wave of activity swept through the terminal. Several airport supervisors hurried toward the boarding area, speaking urgently into their radios. The gate agent, who had refused Ethan's boarding pass, looked confused as the airport manager approached with a serious expression. "Mr. Parker," the manager asked carefully. Ethan nodded yes. The manager's face immediately turned pale. He extended his hand and apologized. "Sir, I'm terribly sorry. We've just been informed of who you are. There was a system error that incorrectly flagged your tickets. We should have handled this much better." The gate agent stared in disbelief. "Wait, Mr. Parker?" "The Ethan Parker, the owner of the airline," the manager replied quietly. A shocked silence spread through the boarding area. Passengers who had been watching moments earlier exchanged surprised looks. Noah looked up at his father with wide eyes. "You own the airline," he whispered. Ethan smiled. "I never thought it was important to mention." The manager offered immediate access to a private lounge and promised a full investigation. However, Ethan calmly shook his head. "I don't want special treatment," he said. "I want every passenger to be treated with respect, whether they're wearing a business suit or a hoodie." The words struck everyone standing nearby. The embarrassed gate agent stepped forward. "I'm sorry, sir," she said sincerely. "I should have listened more carefully instead of making assumptions." Ethan accepted the apology. "Mistakes happen. What matters is learning from them." The manager assured him that additional customer service training would be implemented across the airline. Ethan appreciated the response because it focused on improvement rather than punishment. A few minutes later, the boarding issue was corrected. As Ethan and Noah walked toward the aircraft door, several passengers applauded. Noah grinned proudly and squeezed his father's hand. "Dad," he said, "you didn't get angry at all." Ethan smiled. "Real leadership isn't about showing power, buddy. It's about showing people how to do better." Together they boarded the plane, leaving behind a lesson that many in the terminal would never forget.